Alright, the Adam and Eve story, the history of Cataclysm by Chan Thomas, Bengal Tiger Press. The Adam and Eve story by Chan Thomas, Bengal Tiger Press. Contents: the next Cataclysm, the Great Floods, the story, the event, Genesis, Cataclysms revisited, conclusion, the author. With a rumble so low and inaudible, with growing thrumbling, then fuming, and with the thundering roar of the earthquake starts. It's not only is it not like an earthquake, it's recorded history. California, the mountains shake like ferns, and the breeze of the Pacific and the mighty Pacific rears of the back of the piles up with a mountain of sea water more than 2 miles high, then starts it to race eastward with the force of a thousand armies. The wind attacks, ripping and shredding everything in a supersonic bombardment. Unbelievable mountain of Pacific seaward foul with the windward east, bearing Los Angeles, San Francisco as if they were built but grains of sand. Nothing but nothing stops, relentlessly overwhelming onslaught of the wind and ocean across the continent with a thousands mile-per-hour wind wreaks its hell, unholy vengeance everywhere, mercilessly, unceasingly. Every living thing is ripped into shreds while blown across the countryside with the earthquake, leaving no place untouched. In many places of the earth, molten sublayer breaks through and spreads the sea white hot liquid fire to add the Holocaust. Within 3 hours, the fantastic wall of seawater moves across the continent, bearing the wind ravaged land under 2 miles of seething water coast to coast. In fraction of the day, village civilization gone with the greatest cities of Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, Dallas, New York, and Boston are nothing more but legends. Barely a stone is left with millions of walked just a few hours before. A few lucky ones managed to find shelter with the screaming wind on the lee side of the high mountain peak, such as Mount Massive, which is the sea molten fire breaking through the quaking valleys below. The raging waters follow a supersonic speed, piling higher and higher, seeming over the mountain. Molten catch fire rising above almost to their feet. Only the great higher mountains, such as the one, can withstand the cosmic onslaught. Northern America is not alone with the death throes of the Central America suffers from the same cannonade, wind, earth fire, and inundation. South America, finally, the Andes, not highly enough to stop the cataclysmic violence pounded out by nature by her berserker rage. And the last day, Ecuador and Peru and western Brazil are shaken badly with a devastating earthquake. Andes are piled higher and higher by the Pacific supersonic onslaught as it surges over itself against the mountain's entire continent. Burned in molten earth fire, buried under cubic miles of catastrophic violent seas that turn into frozen hell. Everything freezes. Man, beasts, plants, and mud are all rock hard in less than 4 hours. Europe cannot escape the onslaught of the raging Atlantic, piles of higher and higher on itself, the following the screeching windward, eastward, the Alps, the Pyrenees, the Urals, the Scandinavian mountains are shaken, then heaved even higher with the wall of seawater that strikes. Western Africa, sands of the Sahara vanish for the nature's wrath, and under Sabbath attached to the wind over the ocean, the area around abound the area of South Africa and Kenya suffers with the severe earthquakes and winds, little inundation. Survivors that marvel at the sun standing in the sky with nearly half of a day. Eastern Siberia and the Orient suffered a strange fate indeed, with the thought of the giant subterranean sketch for the atom sweeps away with the Earth's foundation, accompanied by the wind and screaming sympathy and supersonic death and destruction as Arctic basin leaves its polar home. Eastern Siberia, Manchuria, China, and Burma are subjected to the same annihilation as South America. When earth fire, inundation, freezing, jungle animals are stretched into the ribbons by the wind, piled in the mountains of flesh and bone, and buried under the avalanche of homogenized sea water and mud. There comes sudden with a seemingly infinite supply of the terrible, incident, paralyzing temperature dropping 180 degrees Fahrenheit. No man, not man, beast, plant, muck, or earth nor water is left unfrozen entire the eastern Asian continent, most of which remains below sea level. Antarctic and Greenland, with their ice caps, now rotate around the Earth in the torrid zone and are furry winded inundation marks on the first 6 days. During the 6th day, the ocean starts to settle in the new homes running off on high grounds. On the 7th day, the horrendous rampage is over. The Arctic Ice Age is ended and the new Stone Age begins with the ocean's great homogenizer have weighed down another deep layer of mud existing in stratum with the Great Plains exposed with the Grand Canyon, Painted Desert Mountain, Mountain Valley, Momentum Valley, and Badlands. The Bay of Bengal basin is just east of India, not on the North Pole of the Pacific, just west of the Peru. South Pole, Greenland, and Antarctica are now rotating equilaterally, finding their ice caps dissolving madly with the tropical heat. Massive wells of water ice surges towards the ocean, taking everything from mountains to plains and gushing heaving past while creating immense seasonal moraines. In less than 25 years, the ice cap is gone, the ocean around the world rises over 200 feet with the newfound water of the torrid zone will shroud in a fog of generations from enormous amount of the moisture poured into the atmosphere by melting ice caps. New ice caps begin to form a new polar area. Greenland and Antarctica emerge as verdant tropical foliage. Australia, the new unexplored continent with a northern temperature zone, with the only handfuls of survivor populating in the vastness of the New York lies at the bottom of the Atlantic, shattered, melted by earth fire, and covered unbelievable amounts of mud. Out of San Francisco, Los Angeles, Chicago, Dallas, Boston, not a trace left. They all will join the legends of the seven cities of Kabbalah. What's left of the Egyptian emerged of the Mediterranean nation, newer and higher still in the land of the age of the commonplace for the time because of the mysterious Baalbek of the new era. Yes, Cataclysm has done its work well. The greatest population regulator also has done once more for man who refuses to do himself. The planet on which he lives drives the pitiful few for survivor in the new Stone Age. After Cataclysm, we join Noah, Adam, and Eve, Atlantis, Mu, Olympus, and Jesus joins Osiris, Centaurus, Zeus, and Vishnu. The Great Floods.